twist. Still alive! Holy crap, it is finally here. I haven't had crap since I was in like 6th grade. That's how excited I am. I can say shit now as an adult and I fucking forgot. Wait, I'm jumping ahead. Hey guys, I am Krystal. I am officially your hostess with the mostest. I am a 3-time cancer survivor. I'm a fucking chaos navigator. I get shit done and I do it all with a dark sense of humor and usually making inappropriate jokes. So I started this podcast for a lot of reasons. I think what started as maybe thinking my life was a Lifetime movie has now turned into a horror movie. And I've realized I'm the main character, though. Every main character of a horror movie, no matter what you do to them, no matter how many times you think you killed them or they're gone, they always come back. Plot twist, they're still alive, and so am I. So I want to introduce you to somebody who I couldn't have even thought of this idea without. She is the fucking biggest cheerleader of my life. She is my best friend. She is my ride or die, so long as they're snacky snacks. Mm-hmm. I'd like to introduce you all to Sarah.
Where's your snacks? You didn't bring any.
This is your house, homegirl, and you did have some pretzels, but you ate them and you didn't want to do the ASMR.
No.
Yeah, so her and I's life experiences are both extreme for sure. Lots of trauma there. She's endured a whole lot, though she's maintained this extremely positive, strong personality. She's just one of the kindest, sweetest, like Care Bear. Want to just squish her and put her in your pocket all day. But I will say she has survived several Netflix documentaries. And I can't wait to talk more about that on another episode. But, you know, you've been in my life, what? Like
13 years.
Yeah, 13 years. And also through the most awkward, embarrassing, weird shit that's probably ever happened to me. Mm-hmm. I think some of it was your fault as well.
What?
You're to blame.
No.
For quite a few things. She's always like, you got it, girl. Yeah, that seems like a great idea. You should totally do it. And I'm like, okay, I think sometimes you were like living vicariously through my
maybe
crazy ass. Yeah, for sure. I think all of this kind of came from, like, you and I have always had incredible conversations, very deep conversations. Mm-hmm. But I think the more that we had them, and when I even brought up the idea of a podcast, you were the one that was like, we can't be the only ones. Like, we have these stories, but how many other people do you think have stories about cancer or abuse or really fucking embarrassing moments? We're just like them, and maybe they don't feel like they can talk about it or they have an outlet. And so, like, we want to help you have a voice, and we hope that maybe you can find something in our podcast, in our stories, to help you get through your hardest shit. It doesn't even have to be the same things that we went through. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, hard is hard, and your hardest matters. So
yeah, we definitely have 2 different stories, and we still trauma bond.
For sure. And so, like, some of the stuff's going to be super serious. I mean, we just discussed some of that. Disease, abuse, traumatic things. But then some of it's going to be cringeworthy. Like, I was catfished on a Tinder date, or I had a super awkward sex situation, a sexuation, or, you know, you shit your pants. Like,
yeah, can't trust those farts sometimes.
Literal shit show. Story of my life. We hope that we can also maybe potentially, like we just said, like, give spotlights to other people. My goal is that we have our listeners reach out and contact us on social media or our website and tell us their stories. Tell us, you know, the hardest thing they've ever went through, the most awkward thing they've ever went through. Like, we want to hear it and potentially have you as a guest on the podcast. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I just feel like we're giving you permission to acknowledge the hard shit, know that it sucks, be like, I'm not okay, but then find a way to fucking laugh about it when you're ready, and find a way to find that dark sense of humor that'll help you get through it. I think another big thing I want people to take from this, I have this mentality that live every day of your life to the fullest, and like the whole like, but did you die mentality. I mean, we even have fuck it lists. So just so you know, a fuck it list is taking fun in a bucket, and you know, they have a baby because they love each other so much, and that makes our fuck it list. Also, I just really like using the word fuck. But we actually created one for this podcast, and we kind of mashed together like your fuck it list and mine. And some of them are for you, some of them for me, some of them we'll do together. So
Yeah.
we'd love to get some feedback on those. Tell us what's on your bucket list, or what do you call that list? You know,
Right.
give us some suggestions. Or if you see one of our items and you're like, hey, I actually know a dude that owns a haunted house and he does paranormal research. Y'all should go stay the night at his house. I'll hook you up. We're totally looking for that. So help us help you. And I'd love to do like those podcasts live potentially.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
Especially that one. We'd have to like video it because that'd be some super you and me love some spooky shit. This is, I guess, where I want to kind of caution people. Right here, if you are the type of person that cannot laugh in hard things, you can't find the humor in difficult things, you get easily offended, or you've never had anything hard or traumatic ever happen in your life, kudos to you. I'm so happy for you. This is not the podcast for you. In fact, at this point, you should probably
danger.
cut it
Cut it off.
and go listen to your Spotify playlist of liked songs or something.
These are the sounds of music. Just kidding.
Is that on it?
Yeah.
Is that? Wow. Okay. The hills are alive, are they?
Oh, is it?
With the sound of music? Okay. Wow. I digress. Sarah, you and I would call us like trauma bonders. I feel like like some of the first conversations we had, it was like just dumping our shit.
Dived in, right?
Yeah.
All in.
I also feel like you get to know someone on such a deeper level, and you and I just bond. We literally trauma bonded, not in like the weird psychological way that's negative. It's like, I say that with a lot of my friends now. And so like, we're trauma bonders. We bonded over that, but it takes a lot to be vulnerable and
it's the best way of healing.
Yeah.
Like,
listen and not say like, oh, I know exactly what that's like,
or
but
judge those
oh God,
judgy
McJudgersons.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't like those either. If you're on here and you're a Judgy McJudgerson,
I'm going to just call you out and just call you a judger. You judger.
Judgmental Julie or Joseph. Anyway, I think we've trauma bonded, and I think it's time for you, me, and our trauma bonders, I guess is what I'll call them, to start the show and start. I'll go first. I volunteer as tribute. So buckle up, y'all. Get ready to laugh. Try not to cry, and let's fucking trauma bond. Just in time for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Ironically, this is a time of year that I was diagnosed with breast cancer for the first time. As I said, I'm a 3-time cancer survivor, so it was my second time having cancer, but my first time with breast cancer. I was only 32 years old, and within the very beginning of October 2018, I found out I had breast cancer. I'm going to be honest, you as my best friend know this. Over the last 7 years, it's basically become my identity. It's been who I am and what I'm known for, because I was part of a breast cancer nonprofit for several years. And truthfully, it served a huge purpose in my life. When bad shit happens for me, if you find purpose in it, then it gives you power over that. And that's kind of what I did. I was able to use my story to, number one, help other people and give them a place that they're not alone by being able to communicate and understand where they're coming from. But I'd also use my story to advocate and raise funding for that nonprofit. And so I've done that the last 7 years.
Yeah.
And
I was very happy you found something like that, because even as your best friend, I there was a space that I couldn't fill for you. And so I was just really happy that you did find purpose during that rough time.
And I took over 4 years ago when our founder, who was one of my close friends, passed from breast cancer, stage 4 breast cancer, which is incurable. I was so grateful for that time that I had with them. And I learned so many things, but like, my family came second. My life, my friendships. I mean, I've only seen you a handful of times in that time. And it was always to serve other people and to help them, and also help fill that void of, why is this happening to me? And why do they, the why is because it's going to help somebody else. So, but there's also so much more to me. Like I said, I'm inappropriate and I'm funny. I have a shit ton of stories. I've done the most awkward things. I've had a lot of life experience. I've had other health issues, and a lot of people didn't even see the shit that was going on behind closed doors during my diagnosis. You did. You had front row fucking seats to the shit show. But actually, I think it was more like a 3D kind of movie where you're getting like sprayed and the winds and the fans and all that, mostly because of the X. I think that was such a huge factor. That was the biggest factor in my life. I was going through a really bad divorce at the time.
Like you were in nursing school originally. I mean, you were in nursing school, but you guys were already kind of.
It was on the rocks.
Lumpy.
Yeah. Well, we've been lumpy for years. Slumpy for years. And so, yeah, I think that we were about a month into the actual divorce. Like we were living separately and stuff, but that was just chaos in my life. And you got to kind of watch it, and I don't want to go into a bunch of detail. Let's just get it out of the way. We will talk a bit about the ex.
A bit.
Yeah, but we're not going, But just to kind of paint a picture of what I was dealing with aside from cancer, I would be manipulated. I would be lied to. I would be gaslit. There were false accusations, flying monkeys where he's going out to all of our friends, including this girl, Sarah, and like telling blatant lies and trying to like change the narrative. And that was my experience.
Oh no, that was very much my experience. I did try to stay neutral for a very long time, but the minute he tried to do that on me, I was like, yeah, no, I gotta pull out. I am not gonna be a victim of this. Hell no. Hell to the no.
Abort mission. Yeah. And so I just I was dealing with all of that, and I'm glad looking back that the divorce happened as quickly as it did, because I couldn't have survived both. I could not have survived breast cancer and that, and God forbid I would have given that another chance. Trying to be with him during that would have been horrific. So, I mean, like I said, he'll be sprinkled throughout, but this is about my cancer journey, not so much him. It's just to let you know that like other bad shit was happening. Just for you nosy bitches, because I'm a nosy bitch. Takes one to know one. Same. I'm sure that you want to hear more about that, but don't worry, we'll have another episode.
But wait, there's more.
We'll have another episode about specifically toxic relationships, romantic relationships, narcissistic behavior,
or even friendships
too.
Yeah,
I think those are two separate and completely great.
Oh no, that's what episodes. I'm saying. We've got a lot of content. A lot.
Oh, all the content. We've got all the content you could ever want. It's good, right? I can't wait until the sponsorships just start fucking pouring in. Anyway, so enough about the ex. We'll talk more later about that. Put a pin in that shit. I just say all this to say, when it rains, it fucking pours, and you better learn how to dance in the rain, which is one of my favorite sayings. And I definitely had to learn how to dance during this time. And I really didn't have a lot of support. I had a very close. At that time, I wasn't speaking to my like mom and dad, and mainly all of that immediate family.
Like, what you think would be normal prime supporters, right? Meaning parents and siblings.
But I did have a very strong core. I had a couple of aunts, sisters, and several other best friends. And it's crazy, but like a lot of people, random people, came out of the woodworks for me. So let's just say that my life was already a fucking shit show, chaos, a Lifetime movie, whatever you want to call it. And then cancer came along and was like, hold my beer, bitch. I was like, this motherfucker. So let's start from, I guess, the beginning of where I found my lump, which was actually with you in your house. So I had come up to visit you so I could cry and be upset about my divorce, and drink wine and fucking cry some more.
Enjoy some girl time,
yeah. I was actually laying on your floor, and
I remember you just like, we were just talking, having girls talk, and you do this thing where you like rub your chest. It's like
that area, yeah. So I realized I do that. And I rub my feet together. It's called cricketing. It's actually like how you self-regulate. It's people that have had like trauma and stuff do that. So I don't know about the chest part. I didn't look that up, about the cricketing specifically. But I did notice, like, after you'd mentioned that to me, I do that a lot.
I don't know.
It's my accidental anxious tick self-exam is what happened. By the way, this, for those who want to know, this is actually called, as the French like to say, your décolleté. And I'm very sophisticated. Obviously, I know a lot about décolletés, and I rub mine all the time. But I was touching my décolleté, and I found a lump. And it was not a lovely lady lump, as Fergie would say, but it was in the front. And I actually asked you to touch it
Yeah.
and feel it because
And the sad part was I didn't know what I was feeling,
or what you were feeling for, really,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like you knew, well, you said that there was something there.
There was something there, but I didn't, some like when you do a breast exam on yourself, you do feel like just, I wouldn't say lumps like that, but you feel a little bit of texture there. Yeah.
Well, and so you should actually look for a lot of things. And I think people being educated on what you're supposed to be looking for, because it's not always a lump.
Yeah.
It can be redness. It can make the skin can look like an orange peel. There's all these things you should look for, and you should do them once a month at the beginning of every month, so that you just remember first of the month you touch your breasts, you do your 5-minute exam. So I really encourage people.
That way you can see the changes or feel the changes.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Because it's the same time every month.
Gotcha.
Because your periods and different things, hormones will affect your breasts sometimes. Oh, we're also going to educate you. Ha ha, surprise, bitch. You're like, oh, now I'm learning shit.
Yeah.
This is the worst. She fooled me. But yeah, so I felt it, and I'll be honest, I think I knew immediately I had cancer. And I know people are like, oh, it was negative. Like, no, I think it was intuitive. I truly do. I'm not a big negative thinker all the time, but like I knew. And so, as I said, I'm a 3-time cancer survivor. I actually had childhood cancer. And I think that I always knew I would see it again, but I was actually cleared by an oncologist at 24 who told me I had just as much risk as anyone else to get cancer. I followed up for years. And so this was not a surprise, but it also, you're still surprised. Like you can say I knew it was, but there's also this part of you, like you're still shocked, I guess. So I went ahead, I took it seriously. And at that time I was letting a lot of shit fall by the wayside because of my mentality. But I went ahead and called my OBGYN's office pretty quickly, got in with her probably within a week. And she was like, it's probably nothing. You just had a baby. It could be milk ducts. It could be this.
Again, you're like 32
years old. And she goes, we'll just go ahead and order a mammogram just in case because of your history. That's the key words there. So again, to educate people, for majority of the warriors that I have met under the age of 40, that was not a normal thing that doctors did. In fact, several of them that I knew, including some that ended up with stage 4 as a primary, like very first diagnosis, were put off because they were too young. You're too young. You just have dense breasts. Oh, you just had a baby. All of these different excuses as to why they wouldn't just order a simple mammogram. And I find that very infuriating, and something has to change. I also have to be appreciative of the fact that that wasn't my experience, but I truly believe it's solely based on the fact that I had cancer in my past.
Yeah.
So she orders a mammogram. I go ahead and go into get it within, again, it's like a week time frame. And
that was pretty fast.
Yeah. And so I get my first mammogram. Obviously, my close-knit people knew, including you, because you felt the lump. So I went and got that. And then the second they called me and they were like, you need to come in for a level 2 ultrasound. And I was like, oh, great. And like I said, I already knew, but like all of these things are just making it, validating it more and more. Like, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, you have breast cancer. And so both the first time and the second time were very similar. The place that I went is very like breast cancer forward. And so everything's pink. Even the gowns you put on are pink. You know, in some doctors' offices, you're like sitting there chit-chatting with people and trying to just like make conversation. Not when you get back there. For me, the experience was extremely cold and scary. And everyone, it was palpable. Like everybody in that room felt the same way. I was sitting there in this pink gown, waiting to know if I had a breast cancer. I knew I had a lump, but I didn't quote know. I knew in my head, but not like a doctor didn't tell me. Anyone who's ever had a lump and had to get a mammogram or had a scare, they felt the same fear. Just one got diagnosed and one didn't. And I happened to be that one. And so I went to my second mammogram and same kind of feeling. But then I waited like a long time. I got to leave immediately after the first one. The second one, I'm waiting there forever. And then they come in and they're like, we want to do an ultrasound and a biopsy. And I'm...
While you were there.
Yeah. Wow. And I'm like, fuck. So they take me back. I was a nurse at the time. So I'm reading the radiologist because I already know how this goes. If you're sitting in a sonogram or in any sort of ultrasound, the people that are doing it, they can't give you a diagnosis right there, even if you ask them. Like, they are not supposed to give that to you. And so I'm trying to just read her face because it's quiet. They take this really large needle, they stick it in your breast. It's painful. I have a high pain tolerance, but extremely uncomfortable. And it depends on how much tissue they have to get. You're seeing it up, like, or I did anyway. They had like the screen so I could see it. And I didn't know what I was looking at that time, but I just knew on their face like something was wrong. By the way, this happens every time you go. They always try to give you a pink rose. It's like breast cancer forward. Here's a rose. And so when I was trying to leave, they were like, here, take your rose. And the first time I refused because in my head I was like, if I take it, it's acknowledging like I have cancer. So this time I was like, I don't want your fucking rose. Like, I don't want it. Mm-hmm. I didn't say fucking to this nice lady, but I was just like, no. And I'm not kidding. She forced me to take it. She like put it in my hand. She's like, no, take the rose, and like made heavy eye contact. Mm-hmm. And their hallway to get outside to my car was the longest fucking hallway I think I've ever walked in my life. Like, I was just sobbing. I had this rose and I'm sobbing out loud. Oh. People are walking by. It's like just destroyed. And I felt so alone and so scared. And I had a very small knit group, but you lived 5 hours away. I also had this weird feeling of like not wanting to burden anyone with my shit because I was already.
That's a lot to just decide to be like, yeah, I'm gonna call somebody right away. It's like you almost have to sit with your thoughts.
And I kind of did. I ended up calling, the ex because we had kids together and I really had no one else to call. But I'm also when I look back on that experience, it was really I did it. I don't regret my life and choices because that's what I did at that time. But definitely, like, I don't have good feelings about having that. It didn't make me feel better. There was no comfort in that.
The call didn't?
No, none of it. Having him around in general during that time was never felt supportive ever. Mm. I just, I waited for the results of that, and it took, again, very short. We're talking this whole thing happened within probably 3 weeks max. Mm. I get the call about a week later with my 2 kids, my 1-year-old and my 5-year-old. And I'm driving and we were going to go to breakfast and my phone rings and it's my OBGYN's office and they go, do you have a minute to talk? And I go, hold on, I have to pull over. My kids are in the car. So I go to pull over and I say, I have cancer, don't I? I'm holding the phone to my ear so my kids don't like hear it. And she goes, how did you know? And I just said, I just did. And I know I started crying, but I didn't like lose my shit completely because my daughter was very like emotionally connected with me and I didn't want to freak them out. And so I'm crying, but trying to be quiet about it. And she tells me then that I'm like, what do I do? Kind of like you just, at that point, the first things that run through my head are like, what if I die? Who's going to take care of these kids? Are they even going to know who I really am? Especially because there was lying and manipulation. And like, I don't think that the way that they would be able to perceive me at that time would have been who I actually am. I was even like, I also thought about the financial, like all of this is rushing through too. It's not like connected, like just thoughtful. Mm-hmm. You're not being thoughtful in that moment. It's like walking through a tunnel and just having different things hit you in the face. And so like thinking about death, thinking about being so sick that I can't work, incapacitated, losing my breast. What is that going to look like? I had like chemo, all of these things, and not having any idea of what the fucking plan is. And I just now, like there's cancer in your body and you're just like, I want to crawl out of my own skin. Mm-hmm. And so she just says, okay, well, we have a surgeon that wants to meet you. He's in surgeries all day, but he wants to meet you this afternoon or this evening. Wow. And again, I want to say that is not normal. Most people that I know, it takes weeks to months to even get all of their scans, their diagnosis, any of that. This was so abnormal. And I, again, am very grateful for how that worked for me. And I found out that I am the anomaly in that. So unfortunately, a lot of people don't experience it that way. I made like 3 calls. I called my aunt immediately and I asked her to meet me. And she could tell something was up, but we met at the Walgreens parking lot and I got out of the car and I just said, I need you to take the kids. And I broke. I just started sobbing and I was like, I need you to take them. I have cancer. And so she started breaking down too. And that made me like, it's so much worse. And it's weird because I said this to you, but like the guilt that comes with it, telling people you love, there is guilt there. You feel so sad that like you're hurting them unintentionally, or they feel helpless and you want to help them. And that's what I was feeling telling her. And then knowing I had to tell you and tell other people, I just felt this guilt, and I was already like trauma dumping on y'all about all my other shit. And so it just felt so like too much almost. She took the kids, thank God. And then I think the second call was my ex, to let him know. And then I called you because you were being my good girlfriend. You were on fucking driving 5 hours so we could sit and talk shit about my ex, and I could cry a lot. Yeah. A lot of that. And cry. And
at
drink,
your place.
And drink wine at my house. And like, you were the third call, and I remember the guilt I felt calling you. And I don't know, what was like, as my best friend, as watching, as a co-survivor, as somebody watching somebody you love go through that, like, what was that like for you?
Well, getting that first initial call that it was in fact cancer, and that, you know, to me it was unreal because it, you know, I had a 5-hour drive. Luckily it was a 5-hour drive, but at the same time you have a, you know, a feeling of like urgency, like I need to get there right now, right now. But like I said, with that 5-hour drive, you're kind of forced to, you're just, I think I've told you this, like just on a conveyor belt. You're like, life's moving and you can't stop, and like, what am I going to do? So anyways, it was just a lot of thoughts like you mentioned, and how am I going to be here? How am I going to be there to support her? You know, she's newly divorced or going through a divorce at that time. She's got 2 very small children. She's working as a new nurse overnights. I was just in my head, like, I'm going to have to just step up and be there for her, not only now emotionally, but now as much as I can physically possibly be. So
yeah, and I was so grateful to like have you there during that time. All of those things that you said that you thought about, like, you fucking executed the shit out of that. I mean, after I got off the phone with you, so I went out and like had lunch. I definitely had several alcoholic beverages, day drinking, and cures everything, except cancer. So I ended up going to the doctor's office at the end of the day, and I'm sitting there, and he walks in after a full day of surgeries, and he is just like, to me, a god among men. He walks in and he hands me a paper immediately, and he tells me what it is, and I start reading it, and it's basically this scientific study showing that children that had radiation to their chest usually had a 36% chance of having breast cancer within a lifetime, or within 30 years, I'm sorry. And it went up a percentage every year, every few years. And so he looks me in the eyes and he just says, on behalf of all of the medical professionals, I want to apologize to you. We let you slip through the cracks, and we will not do that again. I immediately knew I was in good hands. I felt very safe with this doctor. Mm-hmm. He made me feel like he's going to get me a plan that's going to work. One of the harder parts about the journey, one of the hardest, is the unknown. Mm-hmm. I think that's in most journeys, like not knowing what to expect. And so after that meeting, I just I felt hopeful about him, mm-hmm. but then it pretty much subsides almost immediately, because then you're like, now what? Mm-hmm. And you're in that fucking limbo of not knowing. So to give you kind of an idea of what that looks like, basically once you have that initial confirmation, they'll then test the tumor for like hormones to see if it's like estrogen fed, progesterone fed. They send you to get every fucking test you can think of. Usually there's several scans involved, including a breast MRI, CT, PET scan. You're going to get a bunch of labs done and a genetic test to see if you have a BRCA gene, because if you do, you have like a 73%, it's like between 70, 75, I think, % chance of having breast cancer. So like all of those variables end up determining your stage, your grade, like your treatment plan essentially, mm-hmm. because they're not going to give you a plan and then change it middle of the way through. They're going to hit it with what they think is going to work in the best combination. So it's not a one-stop shop. Right. I know when people think of cancer, they're like, oh, chemo. Not everyone has it. Not every breast cancer person has to have a mastectomy. So after all of those things were done, and I'm sitting in that limbo, which felt like eternity as well. It's like walking down that fucking hall again. I get a call from my doctor, and he tells me that I can just have a lumpectomy and just remove the lump. And I thought about it, and I at first was like, wow, because in my head, again, no, I knew jack and shit about breast cancer at that time. So in my head,
go to the worst.
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm going to have a double mastectomy. And I had already started picking out like floral tattooing for my breasts because I was like, I'm going to get art on my breast. And he's like, when he said the lumpectomy, it kind of like threw me a curveball. And then I just started asking questions. I was like, okay, so my entire chest was radiated. I wasn't comfortable with my breasts anyway. I wasn't a huge fan of how they were already uneven. I had a fake breast. That'll be for the childhood cancer one because that whole thing is crazy and funny and sad and all the things, all the feels. I was okay with losing those breasts, I guess. But he's like, I said, I don't want to have to keep coming back and getting surgeries. That was like my biggest thing I didn't want to do. I said, what if I wanted to do a double mastectomy? And he's like, okay, then we can do that. And I was like, all right, well, let's do it. And he said, we can do a nipple sparing. So I didn't even know that was an option. So I actually got to keep my nipples. And again, it had to do with like where the tumor was located and all of that and the tissue surrounding. So a week later, I am getting surgery. At this point, I know what's happening. I think I'm in the part where I'm just numb. I stopped feeling scared or sad or any of that. I went from like getting into the cancer tunnel to now I'm just like same as your conveyor belt. So that week, because I was having surgery, he connects me with a plastic surgeon. So you get two types of surgeons. You get an oncological surgeon who removes the tissue, and then you get a plastic surgeon to do the reconstruction for you. And plastic surgeons, now I know this guy was great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to knock him, but like, I would just say, honestly, I don't think he was the best plastic surgeon for reconstruction, knowing what I know now. I don't think the options were as great back then either as they are now. So I went in and I'm telling him that I've always had uneven breasts and stuff like that. And plastic surgeons are like perfectionists. They look at you and they're like, what do I fix? Like, you know, oh, she needs a mommy makeover. She needs this. So like, he wasn't just looking at the reconstruction. He's like trying to like fix all my other like imperfections. And so one of the things he did was like have me hold my hands up like together, like I'm praying. Yeah. Like I'm doing it right now. Like can you see that through the microphone? Thank you. I'm doing like a praying thing and he's like looking at me and he's just like, and I'm like, what? And he's like, have you ever been told you have this? And you know what? If you're listening and you know what this is called, please send me it. I'm going to have to Google it after this. But it's like basically, I can't remember what it's called, but it's this disease where one side of you is disproportionately larger than the other. So he was like, yeah, I think you might have that. Like your left side is much bigger. Your left arm is much bigger.
Oh
like,
God, he would have hated looking at me. I'm so not symmetrical.
Stop. You're just sweet and fluffy. You're just a fluffy, beautiful bitch. No, but he gave me, and I was just like, Jesus, am I like fucking Quasimodo over here? What is the best?
You're like, I'm literally in here about my breasts
and you're picking me apart. You're literally giving me like, making me a fucking like a Quasimodo hunchback over here with my disproportionate body. Jeez. And so that was basically my first day with him. And so I'm like, great, I'm in good hands. And I mean, again, he was a plastic surgeon and he was a good plastic surgeon. It's just the options that I was given at that time, I don't think I had enough education on. I was in a whirlwind. I knew nobody at that time who was my age doing these things. No one to guide me.
Yeah. And normally, you know, we do need to be our best advocates, but in those situations, it's not like we're going through a catalog and we're like, yeah, that's the reconstruction I want.
Yeah. And you know what I don't think enough people talk about? There is a fucking weird feeling that comes with having breast cancer and knowing you need to get it taken out. And you almost feel selfish for being like, I have to pick these breasts and they're giving you all these options. And in your head, you're like, I even told him this verbatim. I said, I just want you to take the cancer tits off and put non-cancer tits on. That's it. That's it. Because I felt like if I thought about what I wanted and maybe I did want bigger breasts and maybe I did want them to be more natural feeling, that I was being like shallow or selfish. Let me tell you, if I could go back in a fucking DeLorean to Krystal back in 2018, I would tell her this too. Listen to me. It is not selfish to want breasts. It is not selfish to pick what you want for your body. And if you have an opportunity to do that, there's also called a deep flap that you use your own fat to transition that up. If you want that because you want to look good and feel good about your body after you have to amputate your actual breasts off, you fucking go off, queen. And for all of you cancer muggles, okay, that means you have never had cancer. You don't get to fucking comment on at least you get a free boob job. That goes directly on the top of the list of shit not to say to somebody who had breast cancer. Do not say you get a free boob job, you get free plastic surgery, blah, blah, blah. We are allowed to think that because we are trying to like glass half full that shit. I think it's very much a slap in the face when other people say that to you and they're like, oh, at least you get a free boob job. I just cut my breasts off. It's an amputation. If somebody cut their leg off, you wouldn't be like, oh, at least you get a fake leg that never quite works exactly the same. And hey, it's the shape of a sickle. How cool is that? Like that doesn't, that's not real life. Like, and again, freedom.
I wonder if too, if it's like making light of something again because they're uncomfortable about you know.
I think it is. I think a lot of things people, and I think that should be, I have some friends that have different types of cancer. And I think I'd love to do an episode where we talk about like the shit you don't say to them like that. And I'm sure that there are other people that hit on it, but like I'm just being real. Like if you want to know things not to say, it's one of those.
That's one of them.
Yeah. Please don't do that. Thank you. Okay. And with the show for all of the cancer people and the muggle people. So I meet the plastic surgeon. They both are going to come in the same day of the surgery. So day of surgery arrives. You're always at the hospital at the ass crack of dawn to have surgeries. And so I'm there and I have my sister, my two aunts, and one of my friends who's actually getting married that weekend. And we'll just call her D, my girl D.
Because what day is the surgery day?
It's like a Thursday, and her wedding is Saturday.
Oh, lovely.
And I found all this out within 3 weeks. She'd been planning her wedding for like years. We went to nursing school together, and I bought a dress and everything. I'm in her wedding. So I had it in my head, I'm going no matter what. So she came and she was at the hospital that morning to see me. I had let my ex talk me into letting him be there. I was making a lot of poor life choices at that time. I didn't even care anymore. Like I was so numb during that. I didn't even cry. I wasn't scared. I just kept, I was just ready to fucking go. I was ready to get it done. We're in the room together and my doctor comes in to talk to me and I'm like, hey, so I'm in a wedding on Saturday. Can I go? And he's like, if you go to the wedding, you're definitely going to need someone to take you and drive you. You're not able to drive and you're going to be on like pain meds and in a lot of pain.
I cannot believe he even said that. Not even a hesitation like, I'd prefer you not.
I think he saw the fucking fire in my eyes. Like, if you don't say yes, I'm going to do it anyway, which is not a good thing. Don't do that.
And weren't you like asking how soon can you get me out of here?
Yeah, I wanted to get the fuck out. I hate being in the hospital. I was a nurse. I could work in a hospital all day, every day. I do not want to fucking be a patient there. So all of my friends and my ex, who everyone hates in the room, and my family, they're all standing around awkwardly. And when the doctor says that, he's like, you're going to need someone to take you to the wedding and drive you. My ex pipes up and he goes, oh, I can go. I'll take you. And Dee looks him dead in the face and she goes, no, you can't. You're not invited. And I was like, damn. I think that's the only emotion that I...
And silence.
It was fucking...
Eyes big, silence in the room. Oh, gosh.
I actually
Awkward.
think that my sister might have laughed out loud a little bit, like a little... like, because she hated his guts. She was a real bitch, but I was too. I was literally trying to go to her wedding. So, and then they did this thing where each one of them came in to just like tell me how much they love me. And my sister came in. Oh, I'm going to cry about this. My little sister came in and she was like, you and me against the world, sis. Like, aww. Yeah. And so she's my little big sis because she's like fucking
supermodel status.
6 feet tall, yeah. Victoria's Secret. And that got me. And then, my aunts were scared for me, but she was the only one that really made me feel emotion. Everybody else, I was just, and it was mostly for her. I saw her scared and I couldn't protect her from it. And like, that's my job. But then they gave me the the great drugs right before they wheel me back. I'm in a hospital. There's people everywhere. And so I don't know if you've ever seen Half Baked, But when the guy quits his job at the fast food restaurant, I don't know why. And every time I get these drugs, I always do weird shit. I'm like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And then I pointed to my friend. I go, you're cool. And then I looked at them all and threw both middle fingers up. I was like, fuck you, I'm out. Like that. Because that's
Gosh. I do not remember this. Oh my gosh. That is everything. If anybody has like literally video coverage of this rolling through the hallway,
or if you've had a weird fucking thing you've said or done on drugs, illegal. If you want to share that,
please share.
Fine, but we're not condoning that at this point. But yeah, so that was hilarious. And then we ended up going. So I did end up spending 2 days there, and had my Rambo doll with me, my dog from when I had childhood cancer. That thing has been to every surgery with me. He looks like a torn up lamb now, but he was a Dalmatian. I don't know. Anyway, he was with me. And so I go to I'm fucking hellbent on going to this wedding. I'm trying to get out of there. I'm begging them to get me out before noon because I have to get ready for the wedding. And my aunt has to help me shower. I have 4 drains in. So 2 JPs and 2 they look like cassette players. They're wound vacs, but there's 2 of them, and they're like wee wee wee. So children or all the people that are on the TikToks now. I know I'm cringing you out right now or whatever the fuck you'd say, but a cassette, it's like called a tape, and so they'd take the cassette and put it in their little tape player, and sometimes it would eat it and it would like pull it all out. So I just wanted to let you know what a cassette was. Anyway. So I had the 4 drains. I still had black fucking Sharpie marker all over my chest where they had like marked me off. I was definitely on pain meds, and I had my Tupperware titties in because you don't go straight to implants. You have to let that skin stretch. They take all of the breast tissue. Essentially, I have 2 huge scars underneath my breasts, and then these Tupperware titties. And I just call them that because they kind of felt like rectangular almost, and they were hard. And then every week they'd like put fluid in them to make them gradually stretch and get bigger. They definitely don't look, they look kind of like breasts, but they're not like, they don't feel like breasts, okay? They definitely don't feel like breasts. They feel like something you put your leftover tuna helper in. And so I'm trying to get the fuck out of there. My aunt helps me shower. She has to like almost hold me up. But I was like, I don't need a wheelchair. I go ahead and get out, and we go over to my friend's house. That's where we're all getting ready for the wedding. When you have a double mastectomy, you can't put your hands over your head. You can't lift your arms like even to shoulder level. And I was definitely very drugged up. So like I couldn't do like me doing eyeliner. Just get the fuck out of here. So everyone kind of catered to me, and everyone also was just staring at me. I remember them like being like, I cannot believe that she's fucking here. I get ready. I brought Spanx so that I could shove all 4 of the drains in there, and my little wee is still happening. But I actually had a dress that was tight at the top and like frilly and long, so it didn't look super bulky, but you could see my Frankenstein titty marks like out of the top. And so we go over. It's in downtown San Antonio at this cute little church. And we get there. It's hot as shit too. It's October in Texas, so it's still like 100 degrees half the time. And we go into the church, or we're lining up at the church. I'm sorry. And then right before we go in, I'm like, I can't stand up there the whole time. And they were like, we'll get you a chair. So they,
oh no.
They put this chair up at the front on her side where everyone else is going to be at the front. Like everyone has to walk by the chair to get in line.
No.
I'm sitting right next. I'm like, oh my God.
Like you're going to sign.
Like do sign language, like ALS certified. Actually, we should add that to the bucket list. I genuinely want to learn.
Same.
Like Miss Rachel's teaching my son. He knows more than me now. And I like how they do goat with their 2 fingers on their forehead. Anyway, they set me down, and they're just like walking but one by one. I'm on pain meds, and I can't keep one eye open. Also, by the way, I ruined every one of her fucking wedding photos because I've got a lazy ass like Forrest Whitaker eye happening. It looked like my titties before my mastectomy. Just a winky face. But I was looking like that in all of her photos. I felt so bad. And then I'm sitting up there in my chair, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, I can hear these wound back because everyone can hear it. Like it's like wait. And then by the grace of Jesus, and we were in a church, so hallelujah, before they even started walking down the aisle, a mariachi band is playing like super loud right next to the church. I mean, it's downtown San Antonio. They're everywhere. And I was like, thank God. So I didn't ruin her wedding with that. And I got to sit down. I did not stay for the reception.
Oh.
I was whisked away relatively quickly.
Which is probably best.
Definitely fucking for the best, for sure. For everybody. I wasn't going to have any fun. And so then I basically went home and started my recovery. And after you have a double mastectomy, you are not able to drive yourself anywhere. You can't, like I said, you can't raise your arms over your shoulders. You can't lift things. It was really hard. I mean, and you're in pain. You're supposed to brace yourself when you get up, not really use your arms to push off of anything. So you have to have someone there with you. And again, I did not have a significant other, but I did have some fucking kick-ass friends. And so she got married, and like 2 days later after her wedding, she came and took care of me for a week. Not just me, my kids. She was cooking, cleaning, helping me wash my fucking hair. Like, just, it's a very humbling experience to not be able to care for yourself. You have to put all of your pride aside to do it, but I am really grateful for y'all doing that for me. And then the second week, you came and you stayed with me for about a week and helped me with all of those things as well. Like, going back to like you being my best friend and my co-survivor, and now you're kind of watching, like, that was probably your first time seeing me. That was first big.
You're a very independent person, so to, see you in that sort of way and having to be cared for. I mean, obviously I was glad and happy to do it, but it's very hard to just see the everyday things that you normally take pride in doing, just the simplest things even, was very difficult to watch, see you like that.
I think all things considered, I was still healing pretty well as far as like, and then obviously my ex would keep popping in and out, and you were like, oh my God, like.
Yeah, like she's physically like not in a good place, and we're not about to have this emotional.
But we did, because I couldn't stop myself from being. Making poor life choices. And going into that, I did not follow up with an oncologist after that. You are supposed to, just for the record. I was told I had clear margins and everything looked good by the surgeon. And so I'm like, cool. All right. I'll just wait till I get my implants in 6 months, because that's how long I had to have the expanders. So I let 6 months go by. I go back to work. Again, not making the best life decisions. This is where I was a very bad cancer patient. Can you hear that? I'm smacking myself on the wrist. Do not be like me. Do not do what I do. Always make sure that you follow up. So I waited 6 months, and I went right back into work. I was worried about making money for my kids, and so I just went back into I also only had short-term disability at that time. So I didn't even qualify for FMLA. I couldn't take more time off. And I get a phone call, and it's my oncological surgeon, the surgeon I met with initially. And he's like, have you had your tumor tested? And I was like, no, I haven't. He's like, did you follow up with the oncologist? And I was like, no. And he literally goes, I will come to your house and slap you. And I was like, damn, okay. I might kind of like that. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. He's like, you're falling through the cracks again. I'm sending your tumor out now. I'm calling the oncology office, like, we're getting you an appointment. So he goes to do that. He sends a tumor out. And in the meantime, I go to meet him like within that week. Basically, if the levels are past a certain point, it means that you will have a high risk of a reoccurrence within 5 years. And so if that comes back, I'm going to recommend that you do chemotherapy. My aunt went with me, actually, and she's very much like you, but like even more like positive, and always the positive thing, and glass half full. She kind of chimes in with her positive. Him telling me that, my brain, I don't have a glass half full or empty, I just have a glass. So I always assume the worst. I told you the first thing I thought about was dying. So in this situation, I'm like, I'm going to have to do chemo. What's that going to look like for me? And she immediately said something like, no, she's not going to need that. You're not even going to need that. So there's no need to even worry about it. And he looked at her. He was very sweet and respectful, because for me, I gritted my teeth, because I'm like, right now I need to go to the worst place so that anything better, anything not that is at least better. And so it's coming up versus living in this like naivety of, oh no, I don't have to do it. It would have fucking destroyed me if I lived there and then ended up having to do chemo. So I didn't want to do that. My doctor looked at her and he goes, think of her as like the president. And guys, not right now. Okay, this was 7 years ago. So just we're not doing any politics on this fucking podcast for the record. So if you're here for that, also, you should probably leave now. I'm sorry you listened for an hour. But he was like, think of me as the Secret Service and her as the president. We have to think of every angle. We have to be here just in case. He looked at me and then he said, if you do chemo, more than likely you want to consider harvesting your eggs because you're young. You're only 32. And if you don't, your likelihood of having more kids is very, very low. I thought about it not for very long because I was thinking of how jaded I was and how like I was just still in the process of this divorce. Like I couldn't even fathom having more kids or even meeting a dude that wasn't a douchebag at that point. And I was like, no, I have 2 kids. I'm fine. Like I'm good. Let's just fucking get it going. And it was also scary to me that I had waited the 6 months. So I definitely was like ready to get back on the right fucking track. We get in the car. I'm not talking. I'm just being very quiet. And she goes, well, you don't need to worry. She starts being positive about that. And I lost my shit. Like I literally looked at her and I think I even put my hands up. I was like, I need you to stop right now. I said, I'm probably going to have to do fucking chemo and I need to be allowed to just think that. Like I need to accept the worst because it will break me if I don't. And I just cried. And I said, I understand what you're trying to do, but I can't always think positive because I have to face reality. If that is even a potential reality, I need to face. And so it was quiet on the way home, but I also felt bad because she was there you guys were there. She drove me to like every chemo. She drove me down there 5 days a week. Even when you get chemo, by the way, another little like educational piece, you think, oh, I get chemo and it's once every couple weeks. No, it's like once every day because you have to get different shots. Sometimes you have to get something to keep your white blood cell counts up. You might need fluids. Like there's a lot that goes into chemo. But when I told her that, she said, okay. She said, I'm sorry. And I'll make sure that I ask before that. And ever since then, to this day, she still asks me like, do you want me to be positive and do my rainbows and butterflies? Or do you just want to feel like shit right now? And I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. But I appreciate it because I think most people are trying to be positive. But I also think, especially the people that love you, they try to be positive because they can't even imagine watching you die or watching you get chemo. And so sometimes it's like a protective mechanism for themselves. And they're just saying that for themselves, not for you. But I didn't want it. I wanted to just accept that. So it took, again, not long, a couple days. And the results came back. And I had to do chemo again for the second time in my life. One was super fucking fun and exciting. It was called the Red Devil. It was absolutely hell on earth. I know everyone's experience is different, but it lived up to the name for me. And the other was called Taxol. And so it was about 6 months is what we were looking at for chemo. So they placed a port pretty quickly. And then they also gave me a quote about what it was going to cost. That all happened the same day I found out I had to do chemo. So I meet with the oncologist, and my oncologist was incredible. She basically told me, yes, you're going to have to do chemo. And I had that aunt with me, and she did a great job there to be there for me. I sobbed, and I asked her if I was going to lose my hair, and she said yes. And it was devastating because I'm just going into being single. I just got these brand new implants. I have real titties now. Like in my head, I'm like, I'm never going to meet anyone or even get to start having a normal life as a single person who hasn't, like, now I've got to be fucking bald. And
you have some pageant hair.
My hair was down to my ass, and I finally found a girl that colored it well. Like, they were really fucking up my balayage that I paid a lot for. It was pissing me off. She took a lot of time to explain to me what was going to happen and what the side effects would be. Hair loss was one of them. And so then I walk up to the front, and they're like, all right, well, your copays are going to be about $8,000. How do you want to pay that? And I'm like, what? You pay as you go, but like sometimes they require you to pay before you even get treatment. a lot of people don't realize that, like, if you can't pay, then they'll turn you away. Really great oncologist office, they don't do that. They'll find a way to work with you. But a lot of them do not do that. And so you can't get treatment if you can't pay. So I don't even know how this all got kicked off, but basically I told a couple of my friends, they all knew, everyone's asking what they could do for me. And I had no fucking answers. I'm like, I don't even know what to do for myself. I had no source of reference or a person that had been through this that could talk to me about it. And so my friends came together and they were like, we're going to throw her an event. Somebody started a GoFundMe. One of my sister's friends from the bar, she's a really sweet girl. And so she started like a GoFundMe for me, or like a Facebook fundraiser. And then they threw the Breast Fest together. That's what it was called, in 10 days. And I had thought a lot about how I wanted to do hair loss, because I knew I couldn't, as long as my hair was, just let it fall out in clumps. Again, it was one of those that would break me type of things. And so I'm like, where's the little bit of control in this whole fucking situation? And for me, it was shaving my head. So I was like, fuck it. At Breast Fest, I'm shaving my head. I'm shaving all of my balayage pageant hair off. It was a really fun event at a local, like, really popular bar. They did haircuts. We were donating hair. Somebody made koozies and we're selling these. It was called Get Felt Up Tonight is what they put on it. And it was this cute little boobs with like the breast cancer ribbon, and it said Breast Fest. It was super cute. Like, they just went above and beyond. They did a silent auction for me. I made a kissing booth because I was like, I'm not going to be able to kiss anyone for a long time because I'm going to have a low immune system and I'm single with these great breasts and I'm going to be bald and no one's going to want to kiss me. So I had a kissing booth and people just came and kissed me on the cheek. I didn't have the kids there because I didn't want them to see me break down. I didn't want to scare them. And so I just wanted to do it with like my adult friends and family. And at that time, I had actually started reconnecting with my parents, letting them kind of in slowly. And they really did like show up for me.
Those boundaries. And,
and they had changed and I had changed. And it was really, really great because I really did need that support. And so they were there and I fucking went up there. I gave this ridiculous speech. It was like 12 minutes long because I'm very long-winded. That's why I needed a podcast. And then I sat down and I was like, I'm ready. And there was a girl there with to buzz my hair. And we listened to Eminem and Zombie, but the Bad Wolves version. And I fucking cried. And she took them. She cut my hair first. She cut it into like a really short bob. And there was this long-ass ponytail. And she showed it to me. And then she's like, are you ready? And I said, yeah. She buzzed the side of my head and I went and put my hand up to it. My friend was recording and I could feel how short the hair was. And my face was just like shocked. And I just like took a deep breath. I was like, here we go. And she shaved all of it off. And I had the G.I. Jane. Like, I still had the little stubbles, but I looked like G.I. Jane. And actually in the video my friend took, I ended up putting on Facebook. She was like, oh my God, she looks so good bald. Like everybody.
Yes, you beautiful.
Everybody. And that's one of those other like backhand compliments. You're like, bitch, I didn't have a choice. My oncologist did my hair, you know? But like it is sweet because at that time.
I don't think it was a backhanded compliment though.
No, I'm saying for like a survivor standpoint when strangers walk up and they're like, you look so good bald. But it sucks to be walking around bald and people are like, oh, you look great bald. I could never.
Because you even had some people like later down the road, like, was this a choice?
Yeah, I did. In the beginning too, because I had the stubble. And we live close enough to Austin that I could have been an edgy bitch. I was not then. I am more now. But weirdly enough, because of that, within a couple of days, I felt very like liberated. I was worried my kids would be freaked out. They weren't. First time I went and picked him up, I actually recorded it and my son like rubbed my head and the whole time I was bald, he rubbed my head all the time. At that point he was 2. He was 1 when it all started and 2 by that time. And, seeing all those people come out for me, there were so many strangers, so many people that didn't know me, my friends, my family, mending relationships. I realized how fucking important support was through all this and that I had it. And I didn't need a significant other or spouse, and I didn't need shitty people. I needed good people, and there were so many out there. But it also sparked something in me that I wanted to start helping people. At that event, I actually got a card, and that's how I ended up meeting Jen for the first time. I just called her because I didn't know what I needed, and I was starting. Chemo was what really knocked me on my ass. I was starting to feel very alone and that nobody really understood. I needed someone that got it. And so I called her and she met me for lunch and she told me I looked good bald, and she was a stage 4 breast cancer warrior who had just gone through chemo again, was also young when she was diagnosed, and she had this awesome nonprofit. And I was like, how do I get involved? Because she was just so full of life and love and wanting to live life to the fullest, which is why it rubbed off on me. And now I'm not letting it go. Like, but I learned a lot from her, and I was grateful for her, but she really helped give my cancer purpose. Like, her and her organization showed me that I could have purpose. So I'm glad I found them when I did, because chemo knocked me on my ass.
You were going to work, working 12-hour shifts overnight, then literally calling me after you get off to head over to your treatment. And you were there for several hours. So, me being 5 hours away, I really couldn't do a whole lot other than to be there via phone. And, if any of the kids needed anything with Bug, I was able to get her into a summer camp that helped relieve you at least some. Bear was literally not old enough to be in anything really, but like I said, if I could just relieve you with one kid, I felt that would be super helpful. So just a lot of emotional support and being able to see or just be there for you when you had those low times. And that's all I really could do.
I was laid up on the couch pretty much the entire time. The side effects for me were horrible, especially on the Red Devil. I thought I could work full time. I ended up going part time at that point. And it was like I kept getting hit harder and harder. Like, I thought I could work the whole way through because that's what I was told. But the meds didn't work well on me to help combat side effects. And so the fatigue was so extreme and the headaches. I felt like I had run a marathon and then got hit by a fucking truck. Like, that's how bad my body hurt.
Yeah.
I had headaches that felt like fire. That's the only way I can explain them. You have hot flashes so bad that you can barely, all you want to do is sleep, but then you feel like you can't at the same time. Your whole body aches, your bones hurt, and sometimes it's just like every minute it feels like hours. And my couch was actually broken because my son had jumped on it and broke it, and I was a single mom, and I laid in that little broken spot. It was kind of really comfortable. I laid there every day. Every day.
Every time I would be able to come down and help, that was your preference, was to sleep on the couch. And then, even though you were in so much pain, the times that I would come to your house to help, I know we took little mini opportunities to do little fun things. It was even just if you wanted just to feel normal.
Those were my chemotastic weeks.
Yeah. We would go to a bar, or we went to a Halloween party at one point.
So that was actually after I got my double mastectomy, we went out for Halloween.
Yeah.
But yes, and I won the costume contest.
Yeah.
Go me.
You would literally, it was you wanted to, but you didn't want to. And it was just and I know even though I was coming into town to help you, I know you still felt like you needed to host me, but again,
it did help me though, because I forced myself. I called
to get ready. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the hair loss thing, to go back to that right before, you were saying, and then we'll go to the jump back to the chemotastic thing. I actually kept my stubble for 3 weeks, and they kept telling me it was going to fall out. There's a very small percentage chance that it won't. So week 3 comes around after the first Red Devil. So I've done 2 Red Devils at this point, because they can only do it every other week. That's how caustic and toxic it is. And I'm it's not going to fall out. It starts growing back, and I'm I shaved my head for nothing. That's what I started thinking. And then the very next day I woke up and my head started hurting. It was painful. So I was rubbing it, which it was a different kind of pain than normal. And I'm rubbing it, and I look at my hand, and it's covered in those little buzz hairs.
Yeah.
And I'm oh God, it's happening. I took a bath. I bathed all the time during that time, because it was just the only thing that helped a little bit with the body aches. And I just got in the bath and I laid all the way in, and I scrubbed my hair as hard as I could because it just ached. My scalp ached. And when I came up, the entire top layer of the water was covered in all of these little bristly hairs.
Wow.
And that was the moment where I fucking lost my shit. I started crying. And I'm by myself at home. The kids aren't there. I'm literally alone crying. But I'm sadistic. So like, I know if I look in the mirror and cry, I won't cry as long because I talk shit. I'm like, you're ugly. Look at you fucking crying. Pathetic. I'm sick. Something's wrong with me. But I got out, and I also wanted to see how much, like, because you think, oh, now they're just bald. No, I look like Patches O'Houlihan.
Yeah, you did.
I had like all these fucking patches. And I recorded some of this because I was like, maybe one day this will help someone. Maybe one day this, and you kept telling me like, record your journey. So, I mean, I may even share some of these videos. I still have them.
No, I definitely want you to share even some of these pictures, like some of these things that we're talking about.
Yeah. Cause it makes it like real too. You can like see what we're talking about, but I had Patches O'Houlihan. I was like, I can't walk around like this. And so it wasn't recommended that you use a razor at that time. Cause again, your immune system's on like low as fuck. But I took my razor, a clean one, and I shaved like with a razor my head. And then I was chemo bald and I looked like a fucking testicle for the next 4 months. It was great. And then your eyelashes, and then your eyebrows, and then all of your body hair, which that part's great actually. Like that's that glass half full. Like I was a naked mole rat. I didn't have to shave my cooter, my armpits, my butt hair, whatever. Like all of it was good. Those little witchy chin hairs that occasionally pop up. You know what I'm talking about, ladies. Didn't have to shave any of that. And I had started embracing like the buzz, and then I was like chemo bald. And I think the fucked up part is that I didn't even have cancer anymore. Like it was just, chemo was just to make sure it didn't come back. Everyone looks at you. They feel sorry for you. I would even go to chemo treatments and have all of the people that are in chemo too, that are all cancer patients, majority of them anyway, looking at me sad because I'm young and going through chemo. And I'm like, I don't want every cancer patient's pity too. Like that's just another level of sad. So my chemotastic weeks come into play because I was like, I can't go in here being sad. I would feel good like every other week with the Red Devil. It would be like a week would go by. I'd start to feel, I can't say normal because that still didn't come. I still don't feel normal. I'm not normal. Who said that? And so I remember feeling like okay, like I had some energy. I got a little bit of appetite because the metallic taste and stuff too stopped me from eating most foods during the week. So I'd like lose 10 pounds, gain 10 pounds, lose. So I kind of maintained. I was thinner than I normally was at that time, but I was like, fuck it, we're going to have my chemotastic week. So I started messing with wigs. And the whole reason I got those was because my daughter told me, ugh, bald people freak me out. And so I let her pick some wigs off of Amazon. And my first one was Candy. She was like a cotton candy pink. And I got such a good like response. I even had a fucking hairstylist come up to me one time while I was wearing a wig. One of the first times I wore it because I was like, everyone's going to know. They're all going to know it's a wig. They're all looking at me. They know it's a wig. They know.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he walks up to me. He's like, girl, who did your hair? It is so pretty. I love the color because it was like an ombre dark roots with like light pink. Oh, yeah. And I was so scared everyone was going to know it was a wig. And you know what I did? I was like, it's a wig. Like, girl, it's a wig. It's not even my hair. It's a wig. Like I told all my fucking self about my fake hair. Yeah. Those times were important. And you coming down and me feeling obligated, quote unquote, it was mostly just because I needed to do it. Because I would have let my laying on the couch, it would have swallowed me whole. And I needed to get away. I was, again, at that point with my ex, you thought shit was bad during a divorce. No, like that part was like when he was already in a new relationship and it was this a whole nother podcast episode of shit. I was at a really bad low, but even with my chemotastic weeks, I was like trying to just do things like I did a wig tutorial, ended up on the news actually.
Yeah, no, I think that was a very hot thing. And I think you even did a class, and wasn't that class you had a great turnout? Yeah, we did do a class in like, we started a support group, but it was like a cool one, not like one where you go and cry and like kumbaya. It was like, no, we talk about real shit, kind of like this podcast. I got to do that and help people with wigs. I'd have warriors messaging me, and but I kind of rocked it all. I did bald, I did a wig, I did a one wrap that I really liked, but I didn't like any of the cancer couture. Like
hats that they had. Like people
Oh.
did try to like recommend or have me buy them, and I was like, I just look so cancery in it. I
Oh
don't
my
want
gosh.
because I got to when I walked out with a wig, I got to be someone else, and I did. They all had
Oh,
names.
yeah.
Lola, she was the ham model, and she moved here for Eddie, her boyfriend, and he kicked her out, but he left. He had a key, and she knows where it is. So sometimes she sneaks in when he's sleeping and stands over him, but it's not weird. Stuff like that. Or Scarlett was a vegan from Cali, and she didn't want to sit on the chemo
No, I
chairs.
even had favorite ones too. So the pink one, the short pink one.
That's probably Candy. My Lola was the hand model with the curls. I love her.
Okay.
She was my favorite. And actually, what's crazy is I got her on Amazon. I recommended her to 3 different people, warriors. They all bought them. They all looked good. She was like a universal wig,
wow.
like looked good on everybody. And she was the most crazy one, like
Yeah.
out of all of them. But I got all these fun colored ones because I couldn't. Brown didn't work because I have a good head of hair, and it just made me miss my real hair more.
Yeah.
Plus, it was boring. Why do that when I could be like, I have fun,
No,
crazy
like
colors?
even when you did do a dark color, you had a bottom part that would be like a different
Bright.
color.
Yeah, I did do a little bit of blonde too. But anyway, that was 6 months of my life. I also got blood clots. I had face issues, skin issues because of blood clots, and the
Yeah.
chemo were affecting me.
I think you can almost do a podcast with just the side effects and like what
You
products
really-
you tried to use and what products actually did work for a little bit.
Yeah, maybe at some point. I'll definitely answer those questions if you email us. But it was me. That's what finally made me hit the lowest point. But I think almost everyone does it. There's only people I haven't seen, and I actually think I'm so like respectful of this. They're very faith based, and like they just put all of their hope and faith into God's hands. And I envy it to a point because I'm like, man, I am such a control freak. I can't fucking do that.
Mm-hmm.
But cancer forced me to stop. I had to stop letting whatever the fuck my ex was doing to create trauma and drama. I had to stop worrying about it. I had to stop worrying about if I could work full time or not. I had to stop worrying about, hey, my credit's going to be bad because I have these outstanding medical bills. And biggest and most importantly is like, I had no choice on if I continued having cancer, if I didn't. Like all I had a choice about is if I decided to do the treatments and how I took that on. I could just wake up every day, gather fucking breath into my lungs, and then keep it moving. And at least I got to choose how I did that day. If I wanted to be happy, great. If I wanted to have a pity party, I'm the VIP, I'm the only bitch invited, then I did that. I cried in my room, and then the next day I put my big girl panties on and I went out and I did what I needed to do. You can vacation in the shitty areas. I don't think you should live there. But I did that for 6 months, and then we had a wig out party, and a bunch of my friends came and wore wigs, and we celebrated me fucking being done. And so mentally and physically, I can say that I will never be the same. I'm completely different now. And I think that cancer actually changed me for the better. I know that I said that I wondered, like, did this happen to me because I was a bad person? But really, I think cancer is just indiscriminate. But it also made me find purpose in my life. It made me use the bad thing and turn it into a positive. I mended relationships with my family. Like all of these positive fucking things. It forced me out of a toxic relationship. I've met so many fucking incredible people through my diagnosis and through the nonprofit, but then also just people that didn't have cancer that have been supporters of the nonprofit, or like people that have had other traumas that feel open to talking to me because I'm so outward about my shit. It's almost like a gift that I have, that I'm able to have other people just tell me anything and feel comfortable. And I love it. I fucking love it. It happens everywhere I go, and it's amazing. And so that's my cancer number 2 story. So since it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I'm going to say check your boobies, get your mammograms. I don't care if you're under 40. If you don't feel like something's right, advocate for yourself. And I do want to also give out resources if you're looking for like a deep flap surgery or need a reconstructive surgeon and you live in Texas. Definitely look at Austin Face and Body. Their doctor is incredible, and he did my second surgery. Texas Oncology is great. If you are in the Hill Country area and need financial assistance or emotional support, Pink Warrior Advocates is an incredible source for that. And they also do a national program where they send care kits out, and they partner with Ana Ono, who makes mastectomy bras, and they're fantastic. I've had them for all of my surgeries. So, and then I also highly recommend getting counseling. I went through a lot of counseling during treatment, after treatment, and it's okay not to fucking be okay. How'd we do?
I'm just really glad that you were finally able to make something like this happen. And I think that a lot of people are going to be impacted by your story, or feel like they may be able to relate in some way, whether it was them that had, something similar, or a friend or a loved one. So I'm just very proud of you, and I'm so happy that I got to be a part of this one, and you've really come a long way, and I just can't wait for this whole podcast to take off. Your biggest cheerleader, and I think that there's so many more stories that people will get to learn about you. And when you talked about how you have so many different layers, like, man, everybody's going to be in for a treat.
I think, again, my biggest takeaway from all of this is, like, I have support. You guys have support. We're here for you. Mm-hmm. We'll be your trauma bonders. We'll do it. Live your fucking life to the fullest. Check out our fuck it list. Get your own fuck it list. It should be never ending. You should have accidental shit show up on there because you were like, I never thought I would do that. And then bam, there it is. And you still count it. It counts. So do that. And if you want to be part of this, if you are enjoying this, check out our website. It's PlotTwistStillAlive.com, and you can go up on there, find a little bit more information out, look at our fuck it list. It's on there. We're also on Instagram, same name, Plot Twist Still Alive.
You'll be able to find all those handles on that website.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. And then also email us, plottwiststillalive@gmail.com, and give us some suggestions on our fuck it list. Give us some, if you have some tips, or somebody who could help make that happen for us, let us know.
Share your stories. Oh my gosh.
Please share your stories. We want that so much. But I mean, do you have any other questions for me?
You know what? I don't, but I'm just, again, I want to tell you I'm very proud of you.
Well, thanks. And I want to give my bestest best friend a shout out, because without you and you being my little cheerleader, my little care bear, my ride or die bitch who needs snacks, I couldn't do this. So let's end this and try to do it right this time, because we keep practicing and it's not working.
High fives.
So we're going to go high five, still alive. Now do your evil laugh. Bye.